Good morning. Now we're here today with Paul from Kramer to look at quality of cables, and in part of our series we're looking at HDMI cables at the moment. So Paul, can you just talk us through what we've got set up here?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Richard. So what we've got here, a pattern generator that is outputting 4K video, 60 Hz frame rate as hard as it possibly can to this display. So it's going over two cables. We've got a Kramer cable, but also an unbranded cable here as well that we're going to compare.
And they're both 20 metres,
Yep.
They're identical in that respect, but the key difference, in fairness, is one cable is about 10 times the price of the other.
Correct, yes.
So we want to look at why you would spend more money on your Pro install and making sure that the cable is correct.
Yep.
Right, so this is the expensive cable running the screen as hard as we can run it,
Yep.
and we can't improve the signal quality. Right, let's just swap over to the cheap one then.
Yep.
So we've done the handshake, it's tried to do a handshake, and what's happened, Paul?
Okay, so basically what's happened here, we're outputting the same signal. So this is the full 4K, but effectively the cheaper cable has not been able to handle that signal, so we've got no image on the screen.
So what can we do just to get an image up on the screen?
What we can do is a couple of things. We can either down the resolution or we can down the frame rate, which effectively reduces the amount of data that's going over that cable.
So what are you going to do? You're going to?
So I'm going to reduce the frame rate, which is the amount of frames per second that's actually coming through.
And you've reduced it down to?
To 30 Hz.
So we've halved it?
Yeah, effectively it's half the data.
And we've now got a signal?
Now we've got a signal.
So that would work as well as if we left it at the frame rate high and halve the resolution. You've just got to halve
Correct.
something basically to make this cable
to
work.
down the amount of data that's going through to, it's like water in a pipe.
Fine.
Yeah.
So the first thing is we've got effectively a lower resolution picture or a lower frame rate picture with a cheaper cable.
Yeah.
What else can affect these cables?
There's a number of factors, but one of them could be interference. So in real world installs there's obviously a lot of interference to things like wireless signals or mobile phones or induction loops and things like that. So that can be another factor which some cheaper cables can be not quite so good at protecting against.
So mobile phone next to the cable as it goes into the screen, what's happened?
So the interference from that has stopped that cable working. Could be to do with poor shielding or something like that. There can be a number of factors that can lead
So it's
to
really
that.
common stuff that people will have
Yeah.
and affect it. Can we just put it back to the more expensive cable?
Yeah, of course.
And phone in exactly the same place.
Yeah.
Nothing. So we've got better shielding, we've got a more resilient cable. So that's two things. Anything else?
Well, just in interest of fairness, I'll put it up to full 60 Hz as well. Just repeat that test just to show, so that we're really driving it really to the edge of its capabilities.
And nothing.
And still rock solid.
Okay. And what about the physical cable itself? Just talk me through about that.
So there's a number of differentiating factors as well that make a high quality cable a high quality cable. So one of the things is obviously HDMI as it is has no standard locking mechanism as past formats like VGA and DVI had thumb screws on it to actually keep it in. With high quality cables, various different manufacturers have different takes on this. We have something called K-Lock, which actually enables that to stay actually in the HDMI port. So if we have a look at that, that will give you an image, and you can see that stays in there quite nicely. If I was to put that cable in, you can see it's not as solid.
Brilliant. So these are the kind of niggles that we get a lot. We install in the Pro AV environment and suddenly people will report that there's a flicker on the screen or the screen's gone out. It's these kind of things. We have seen the cables being knocked in the back of installations. We do get interference. HDMI is a digital signal, so the signal will eventually just drop off a cliff. It doesn't tend to deteriorate, but you can see how easy it is to get that to happen with common things such as a mobile phone. Brilliant, thank you, Paul.
No problem.